It is not always easy to find the one crying out for help, having thoughts of taking his or her own life. But somewhere among the hundreds of kids attending Kirkwood High School, that kid may be there. And whoever he or she is, they need to know there are peers who have their back.
You just feel more connected when you're talking to someone else your age, I think.
The key is that it's student-driven. If it was a directive from me, it wouldn't be at their core, it wouldn't be at their heart.
They don't really see what students see.
For about 6 years now, the journalism department at Kirkwood High School has had a second purpose. Some of the students here have taken on the responsibility of running what is still referred to as Suicide Awareness Week, even though they also plan days throughout the year and are on the watch, ready to help all the time.
There's definitely a stigma associated with mental illness, especially suicide, and so we started to provide educational resources and support to the student body. At our meetings, we come up with ways that we can show the student body that this is always an issue, suicide is always going to be prevalent, and that it's not just a week in April.
Logan Cruz knows that as well as anyone, because Logan Cruz has been in the same position as those they're trying to help.
Sophomore year and junior year, I was hospitalized because I was feeling suicidal. I deal with depression and anxiety, and both times I had wished that it was more apparent to my friends, that I could kind of lean on them more. Not to say that it's their friends' responsibility to be on top of their friends all the time, be like, you're depressed or you need help. But it made me realize that I did kind of feel alone. Both times when I came back from being hospitalized, it just drove me to work harder on Suicide Awareness Week, because there's so many kids who feel like I did, and I felt for them because I've dealt with it, and I wanted to make sure that they didn't feel alone like I did, and that they had the resources that I could have used originally when I started dealing with this.
So Logan is among those who have taken the torch from students who started all this. Everyone involved knows this is, in the end, about empathy, being an ear to listen or a shoulder upon which to cry, something that's easier to do teen to teen than teacher to student oftentimes.
It's super important. I think students get it. I think when you're a student, talking to another student is easier. There's this mutual understanding like, oh, hey, I think you've gone through some of the same stuff that I've gone through. We can talk about it now and we can help make it better because we feel more equal.
It's not always the most appealing thing to walk right up to a counselor you've never seen, an adult, and say, hi, I'm going through a crisis, I need help. That's a very uncomfortable thing to do.
They don't just make this up as they go along. The students who started the group years ago set the tone of self-education to make sure they were doing the job right.
I actually had a group of students who gave up days in the summer and in the fall who attended seminars and workshops, professional training, to make sure we were going about it in the right way, because we know how heavy the topic is. We know how different people, the triggers. So we wanted to make sure we were helping and not hurting.
It's not just a bunch of kids who have no clue about mental illness trying to start a club or anything. I specifically and other students have dealt with this issue, whether on a personal level or family level, and it is important to us, and that's why we are working on this so hard.
But hard as they try, they still can't always find that student in desperate need. In the spring of 2018, just days before Suicide Awareness Week, a Kirkwood student took his own life.
Losing a student was very hard, and it makes our cause even more important.
For me, it just was kind of one of those things that showed me how important it is to be working towards a goal of something like this, because it just, when these events happen, it's just really hard to work through. It's so hard to describe, I don't know.
If anything, it brings a sense of urgency. They try a little harder, listen a little more, reach out a little farther. It is a case of kids taking the responsibility to help kids, hoping to head off tragedy with capable, helping hands.
For me, I'm kind of working for my past self and other students that are like that now, that I can't see because it's not always a visible thing.
I've just seen a lot of my friends go through it, and it's just one of those things that I don't think is talked about enough. No one should have to go through something like that alone. or at all.